Panoramic lifestyle. A vision moves in all directions.
You have joined us once again for some odd reason I don't understand. I don't know. I'm guessing you like the content on the network, but we are fortunate that you guys come and hang out with us on this Panoramic Lifestyle video show, our Panoramic Lifestyle podcast, and the other various shows that we have for you on the network. I am here with our content executive, Mr. Kevin Anytime. Kevin, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm happy to be here. So it is, even though I don't sound like it, this is the way I talk.
So we have a great show today with a great topic. We want to introduce you guys to Mr. Jake White. Jake, how are you today, sir?
I'm awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks for asking. Glad to be here.
Yes. We appreciate you. Kevin and I both met Jake separately. Actually, I met Jake first at an organization that we were both a part of. We had a conversation after the first couple meetings or so, and he told us about the organization he started, Partio. And we're going to dive into that and let Jake tell you a little bit more about exactly what Partio is. But before we get into that, we're going to have some fun here. We're going to sit back, do a little bit of banter. Want to talk with Kevin. Kevin, outside of doing our content, Kevin is going to start hosting some of our video shows, because I need to get back and continue signing contributors. So since he just has that it factor, I don't know what it is about you, man. You kill it in the video, you kill it everywhere. So he has that it factor. I was able to sit down with him. We had a conversation, and he accepted that role. So he'll be doing a lot of that. I'll still be involved with this portion of the show and with the podcast. It's just that I want to let him take up the bulk of this temporarily as I do my thing, and let him continue to push his Kevin Anytime brand. What can the folks expect when you take over the show?
Yeah, a lot of questions and great guests, people that's signing on. So you'll be able to see a great deal of people, different varieties from all walks of life. And, I'll throw in my comedic style a little bit once I get real comfortable and we get more fluid. So most of it will be real light, and we'll get into some good discussions with the guests and who's signing on and what they're putting on for contributions. So it'll be real good.
Absolutely, I definitely know that will be entertaining. So let's pivot. Let's talk with our guest Jake. We've been talking too much. Jake,
why did you even ask me?
Wait, why did we even ask him to come on again? I don't know what's going on. So again, I met Jake several months ago. Again, at an organization we were part of. So he told me about this great organization he has, Partio. And then I actually introduced Kevin to Jake, and you guys had a separate meeting where you guys kind of got to hang out. But before we get into the organization, let's just talk a little bit about who you are as a person. Where did you come from? Why? What's so special that we invited you here? Tell us all.
Let me tell you. So I grew up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So that's fact number one. That's amazing. If you ever heard of the overalls or the baby clothes, Oshkosh B'gosh.
Oshkosh B'gosh.
That's where I grew up, wearing those overalls, and basically, yeah.
That's
Dude, I mean, that's it. That's why I'm on the show.
Oshkosh, because we love Oshkosh.
We love Oshkosh. That's what this whole thing was. All right, we can shut the cameras off.
Exactly.
No. So you come from Oshkosh. What was it like growing up in Oshkosh? Now, I asked that because this gentleman is from Milwaukee. I have relatives from Beloit, Wisconsin, that have some in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've been to Oshkosh a few different times. So you live here in Phoenix, Arizona now. So what was that transition like? I know it was a culture shock when I came out. I don't know how it was for you. Like it took a while to adjust to the way that things operate out here in the desert. How about for you, Jake?
Right. It was definitely abrupt, different weather. But the cool thing is that the people were the same.
Right.
They're very nice here in Phoenix. But what kind of moved us from Wisconsin to Phoenix is my wife and I were living in a trailer for 4 months, traveling around the country for our business, our organization. And we basically decided we need to move closer to an airport. So we geeked out. We made this whole Google spreadsheet, and we looked at cities that were affordable, that had mountains, oceans nearby, or something like a day trip, and then had things that we liked, like volleyball, diversity, like a real town with people from all over the world. So Phoenix was one of those places, and that was I think the biggest shock was coming from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, a very German town where everyone looks like me, and to go to a place.
Now you're sitting here with us.
Right. I know. And so we're meeting. It's funny that we came from the Midwest,
Yeah.
but
Right.
we met here.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to move here.
And that's one of the things that I really appreciate. It's so diverse here, as opposed to it's very segregated in the Midwest still. You know, it's still, you know, especially Chicago area, again, going up into Milwaukee. Like a lot of these things that are happening here wouldn't happen there. That quite as they still happen, but just not as easily as this was facilitated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So years ago, I drove semi-truck and I got to travel around the country. You traveled around in a trailer. I'm sure there was some interesting experiences you and your wife had out on the road. What's something wild that you guys experienced being out there?
Well, there's lots of stuff. I guess one of the favorite things that we learned from being on the road is, so it was my wife and I, and then also 2 other people in a 20-foot trailer.
Oh, wow.
So the size of 1 parking stall.
Right.
So that was in itself an experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing was we stopped caring what anybody thought about us.
I'm sure.
You know,
Yeah.
like we went into gas stations, to McDonald's, to grocery stores to wash our dishes. We didn't have plumbing. You know, we would walk into YMCA's. The YMCA sponsored us with annual passes for anywhere in the country.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, that's where we did some of our dishes as well, and taking showers, working out. And so we lived out of parking lots with this trailer. So that, and working with college students at different college campuses. So that was probably the biggest thing, was just the ability to go anywhere, learn a new town in a week, and then move on when you're done, but realize, hey, what people think about you doesn't really have an effect on your life, or it doesn't have to.
Right.
And that was kind of the big takeaway that we took, as long as and you can do your dishes anywhere.
Right.
So I'll never take a sink for granted in my own
Yeah.
house again. I won't complain about washing dishes.
No,
Wow.
I'm sure. So yeah, so you guys got to see a lot of the country. I know for myself, I got to travel into 47 of the 48 contiguous. The only place I
Wow.
didn't go was South Dakota, not by choice. That's just how it kind of lined up, but I got to go everywhere else. It's pretty awesome just seeing the country and seeing what our great country has to offer. So with traveling, again, you got to connect with a lot of individuals, I'm sure, just being out. But it always sucks because, like you said, it's a short period of time. And I'm sure a lot of these things, went into you starting you guys' organization. So before we get into the organization, instead of doing an article, you wanted to talk about a book that really inspired you. So let's dive into that a little bit. Do you have, you have
Sure.
that book?
Yeah, I brought it.
Oh.
Show and tell. Yeah. So this book is called Start Something That Matters, and it's by Blake Mykowski. And he's the founder of Tom's Shoes. And if you're not familiar with it, Tom's is basically, it's called Shoes for Tomorrow. Tom's is for tomorrow. Their model is every time they sell a pair of shoes, they'll give away a pair of shoes to someone who's in need of shoes. So I thought that the story, he broke down his story, why he created Tom's Shoes, how he went on vacation to Argentina just to immerse himself, but found out that there was a problem. And he took it upon himself to fix this problem that he saw, and to kind of be the change you want to see in the world. Because we see that quote, on refrigerator magnets and inspirational posters, but he took it seriously, and he said, I can help change this, in an entrepreneurial way, not in a, here, I'm going to donate thousands of shoes, because that was already happening. But the unpredictability was, how do we make it continual flow of these donations that's not so flimsy, or come and go. And he really did that. So that book was really inspirational for me in college, to stop complaining about my problems and to just dive in head first and go after them.
Yeah, what they say, hashtag first world problems that we all have is we can complain so much on, oh man, my Wi-Fi's out, and it's like, what, but like you were saying with that whole situation, it's totally different needs, totally different experiences, and people out there just totally different because of all of the differences that they have as far as technology, and sometimes it's even like running water and all type of stuff. So that'll really put you in a different mindset. So yeah, I'm sure that, man, I'm gonna have to read that. That sounds really inspirational, man.
So as far as, again, you started an organization, is that the first kind of business endeavor that you would ever partake in, or have you done anything previously?
Actually, my dad was kind of an entrepreneur growing up, so I had a stay-at-home dad. And my mom was a teacher. So he would always have these side hustles that he was working on, and one of the biggest ones he started was an embroidery company.
Okay.
So if you had that embroidery on your shirt, he did that and would find clients to do their embroidery work for their clothing. And when he stopped doing that, he actually handed it off to me. He said, Jake, like, I'll sell this equipment,
right.
or you can continue running the business.
Right.
So I think I was in middle school,
okay.
getting orders for $500 to $800, but in middle school that's huge.
That's huge. That's huge for some people now.
I know, exactly.
Wow.
So it was like weeks of work,
right.
Sometimes months of work.
Absolutely.
But it was so cool because I got to learn how to take care of your clients, how to make a sale, how to send them invoices and ask for their money.
Right.
Which that's really hard to do at first.
I'm sure. So what, you're 14, 15, 13, 14?
Yeah.
So how did the adults treat you when they found out it was a kid that was, or was it?
I think it kind of helped because they knew my dad.
Right.
So my dad might not necessarily tell him that I was running the business.
You just let it run autonomously through you.
Right. So he was kind of the face of the organization.
Okay.
I was the child laborer, but was treated very well.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Right.
So did he give you? How did that work compensation-wise? Did you get to just start an account? Did he put it away for you, or did he hand you money and you decided what to do with it?
No, he gave me full autonomy, and I would ride my bike down to the local grocery store where I had a bank account and deposit all my money.
Oh.
And my dad actually taught me. I'm really grateful now, but he taught me how to manage money well and how to think of every dollar that you have as something. It's not only a cost when you buy something, but it's an opportunity cost.
Right.
So if you buy this, what I wanted, Pokemon cards for $5, that means it's $5 you can't use for that drum set you really want. Something like that I really was passionate about.
Right.
So, I would put away half of every paycheck in there, and then I could blow the other half on the Pokemon cards, or bubble gum, or whatever.
That is awesome to have exposure to that at such a young age. Like that is awesome. So let's pivot one more time. We're gonna go into a break. So you had a dream car, or you were out on that road, right? And you were out traveling in that trailer, and you had a dream car. And when we get back on the other side, we're gonna let you guys are gonna be shocked what this dream car was, and you actually have it. You manifested this dream car. It came to him.
I know.
The guy's successful.
It's so awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to share it with you.
Great. So we're here with Jake White, founder of Partio, Kevin Anytime, JackBrickhouse. We'll be right back. We have some more great info for you guys. Jake's going to dive into exactly what Partio does, but we'll be back on the other side after this.
Everybody's having a good time.
Partying with some water. Just seeing some friends and eating cookies.
Dancing, eating, hanging out.
The music has been live, it's been bumped and turned.
It's just a lot more energetic.
Good music. Free cookies. And dancing.
Skill palm.
Skill palm.
Yeah. I like to be able to remember it the next day.
I just like making friends in like an actual like sober mind.
You don't have to get plastered to have a great time.
Tonight. We're partying.
We're partying.
We're partying. With Party Point O.
And with Party Point O.
With Party Point O.
With Party Point O.
With Party Point O.
Woo!
And we are back. We had some fun during the break. I wish you guys were in here. Jake corrected me about the pronunciation of his organization. All right, we told him he was trying to negotiate for one of these great Panoramic lifestyle shirts that Kevin and I had. But it was good. Again, I wish we could share. We have a lot of great conversations off camera. But now we are back on camera. We're here with Jake White. Partio is his organization. We talked about him living in a trailer. We've talked about him being from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where it's not as diverse as this set is. Is that how we want to say that? Is that right?
Right.
All right, no, but we're having some fun. So we teased on the other side, and we were talking about Jake's dream car. Now, before you reveal what this dream car is, we got some people in the back. Hey, Chris, what's your dream car?
It's a 1990 Dodge K car.
Oh, wow. Producer man, what's your dream car? Oh, he's trying to act like he's not listening. As always.
The Dodge.
As of right now, a 1975 Oldsmobile Grand National.
Grand National, that's a good car.
The Grand National.
I don't even know if I've ever even seen one.
You never seen one? They're rare, man.
Oh, I already got it on there.
Kevin, anytime?
I already looked it up. I'll show you.
My dream car
Yeah.
is the DeLorean.
The DeLorean.
The Back to the Future DeLorean, man. And it's gotta have the whole setup just like Back to the Future. That's the only way I'll take it.
I was just watching something, and somebody I think had they were in sports or something, and they were making a bunch of money, and I guess they went broke, but they said they actually went out and bought a DeLorean with their money, and now they're broke, so that was funny. My dream car, I'm a Stingray guy, the Corvette Stingrays. Like what is that, late 70 models, any of those, like I really like those. So Jake, here we are. You had a dream car, you manifested your dream car into your reality. Reveal to the people what your dream car is and how you obtained it.
All right, so newer, 2010 Toyota Prius.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, here's why. I was a sophomore in college. I wanted to do an internship in North Carolina. It was for a music festival. And long story short, the guy was not giving me the job.
Okay.
After like months of getting after him, and it didn't make sense to me. I had experience, I was a go-getter, and I was making it like a stupid, easy decision for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't asking to be paid, I just wanted the experience.
Right.
So I figured if I drive to North Carolina from Wisconsin, showed up at his door, he probably would not send me back to Wisconsin.
Right.
So I didn't have a car. So I went to my mom. I said, Mom, can I borrow your Toyota Prius? And she's this Southern lady. She's so sweet. She said, Jake, bless your heart. You can have whatever you want. You take my car. How long will you have it? And I said, oh, it'll be like a month and a half. And she gave it to me.
For a month and a half?
For a month and a half. She's like, I'll carpool.
Way to go, Mom.
Right?
Way to go.
Yeah. So she's
Wow.
an amazing woman, sacrificing for her baby boy.
Right.
And that's what I got in the car. I drove 14 hours. And I showed up, and the guy was like floored that I was there, but didn't want to send me back.
Right.
So I spent a month sleeping on people's couches. Only spent one night in the Prius. Otherwise, I had friends to stay with and stuff like that I had met.
Right.
And we put on this music festival, and it was awesome. So since then, I thought if I took a risk like that, and it cost me $75 to get across the country, I want to do that anytime I can.
The Prius.
So the Prius became my dream car.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And, you actually just said that. That's a great segue. You drove across the country, which is 14 hours. That's dedication. To put on a music festival, right? So that kind of ties into what your organization, Party-O. And go ahead and, it's Party-O?
Party.0.
Okay, so I'm going to correct you.
Go ahead.
It's Party.0.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's okay. I forgive you, man. We all make mistakes.
I'm sorry. Edit this out, Kevin.
Just bleep out every time.
Yeah, just every time.
Party.0 in the first part.
And I'll just do some post-production. I'll do dot. I'll just say party point. I'll just do the point.
Yeah.
Where it has that weird extra voice
I wanted
in there.
to,
Point every
Point.
time.
Yeah. No, go ahead. So let's talk a little bit about Party.0 and what you do. And once people hear about what it is you do, they'll know from your previous story, a lot of your motivation. But go ahead. We'll give you the floor on that.
Yeah. So basically, Party.0 is a speaking platform for college students where we'll go onto campus and we'll teach them how to throw massive parties, but without any drugs or alcohol. So that's where the .0 comes in, is their sober house parties. I started this in college, just being somebody who didn't want to use drugs, didn't want to get into drinking, because I saw how it changed my family members' lives. And so I thought, if I can stay away from that, that would be the best thing for me. And realized it's hard to have a social life then if you aren't drinking in college. So much related to that book, Start Something That Matters, like I realized I've got to stop complaining about being that weird sober kid and I've got to, be someone who brings in people like me to meet each other. And so the idea popped into throw a sober house party. And within months of throwing these parties, we had hundreds of students coming, nationally known sponsors like Red Bull, Papa John's, and media coverage across the country. So that really sparked some ideas, like for me, but more importantly, like other people around the nation saying, hey, Jake, how did you do that? I want to do this on my campus. And that's really when I knew we had a movement, we had a business, and I had better get good at sharing this. Because that would be a sweet job if I could teach people how to party sober.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. So, talk about the first party you guys threw, like in the beginning, before the media attention. Like, how many people were at the first party when you said, "Hey guys, we're gonna throw a sober party"?
Right.
Like, how did that go?
So, when I first had the idea, I thought, like, no one's gonna be interested. No one's gonna be interested. Like, my campus is in Wisconsin, drinking a state, but. My campus was called UW Oshkosh, and we had a nickname, UW/Kosh. It's party school just like any other. So we thought we might have to be discreet about this. We don't want to be made fun of all across campus. So how we did it is my buddy Steve and I teamed up, and we would individually go up to people or in groups that first week on campus, and we would invite them to our sober house party. It took us 25 seconds to introduce the idea and ourselves, and either get a yes, I'm interested, and get their phone number, or no, I'm not interested, don't bother me about that, that is stupid. So, and that's what we wanted, either or, don't give us a maybe. We either have your phone number and can tell you about the parties, or we don't. So in that, we spent a day, and we met 129 people in one day. And out of those 129 people, only 9 said no. Yeah. So I see like what I did there with the suspense.
The suspense. I love it.
Like, was that part of the pitch? Did you be banging in those 25 seconds?
I'm like 9 said yes. Not only 9.
I'm just giving Panoramic Lifestyle some drama.
We need that
for the viewers. So we had 120 yeses. And so now it was kind of like, like we gotta do this. How do we throw a party without alcohol and make it fun? So the first party we had in Steve's apartment. It was like just on the first floor. Looks like a studio. So basically all you could do, we had water pong set up, and we went to Walmart and got 5-gallon Kool-Aid powder. It had grape Kool-Aid. So our party cost $2.50, and we had a friend DJ it. So we figured we have 120 names, probably 30 are actually going to show up. You know how people are. They'll make up excuses. Anything to not do something you said you'd do. So we have the DJ going. We got the Kool-Aid all mixed together. And Steve and I head outside to make sure people know where to go. And we start sitting out. We set out lawn chairs, and we're sitting next to each other. And we start seeing some freshmen. There's a baby crying.
Hey,
somebody acknowledge that.
Director, please get that baby out of here.
Get that baby out of here.
I thought I was going crazy. You're a baby out here, it's clear as day in here.
Yes, people.
I'm trying to enjoy a couple more minutes without
Sorry.
That's
all right.
Is this Adriana?
And we're back in front of a live studio audience.
Absolutely.
With babies.
With babies, yes.
So after the baby intermission, we set out our lawn chairs, and we start seeing a couple people go by, and they're walking back and forth like they're lost. Freshmen, So we're like, hey, where y'all going? And they're like, we're looking for the sober party. And we're like, that's us. You're coming to our party? Sweet. So we send them in, and then we start seeing, there's a group of like 5 people. Those group of 5 start going back and forth, like, hey, we got some confidence now. Are you going to the sober party? We're like, yeah, we're for the sober party. So sweet, we'll send them in. Then we start seeing groups, like 10, 20. And they're looking like lost freshmen, like, hey, you going to the sober party? They're like, yeah. So we're sending them in, and we started sending in lines of people. And finally, like 15 minutes later, we was like, we should go check out our party. See how it's doing.
See what's happening.
So 15 minutes later, Steve and I walk into the room, and there is a sea of students filling every inch of this apartment. And we counted, there was 85 students in this, and like just 4 people having fun because they're playing Pong. Everybody else is sitting awkward. Some dude yells, the Kool-Aid's gone. They're, like, they're so mad. And within another 15 minutes, everybody had left.
Right.
It was a terrible party.
Right.
So that was our first experience, our first party. And Steve and I kind of looked at each other and said, we got to get good at this.
Right.
And we got to get good at it fast.
Right.
Luckily, we had everyone's numbers so we could tell them, next time, hey, we got more space, more games.
Right.
We went to local businesses and told them what had happened.
Right.
And they were on board. They were like, hey, what do you need?
Right.
You need pizza, you need money, you need whatever it is.
Right.
So it kind of built from there, and our attendance rose and rose and rose up to about 180 students at our biggest party. But then now that we teach people, I mean, there's been upwards of 600 students at a sober party.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's
a
great.
concert, man. That's, that's a mini concert.
That is, and I mean, there was important business lessons there because I always say, if you can at least get one person for whatever it is you're trying to do, you can get 2, you can get 20. You got 85 on the first go around. Even, they only stayed for 30 minutes, but they came.
Right.
And the second important business fact is that you had their contact info, so you can also follow up with them again.
Yeah.
And that's across any business. Those are 2 vital aspects of when you want to create an organization. So when you decided to put together Party .0, you had some you started business when you were 12 years old. I mean, so I know you had some experience there, but what were some challenges you may have faced when you guys decided to actually physically and do the paperwork turn this into an organization?
Right. Yeah. So I was a journalism major. My buddy Steve was in business.
Okay.
So he kind of led that charge as far as, hey, I'm going to ask my professors about this.
Right.
But I mean, we hopped on Google,
Right.
how to start a business in Wisconsin.
Right.
And we just went,
Nice.
we went through the
Right.
steps.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool is like the information's out there. You have no
It is.
excuse not to
Absolutely.
know how to do something.
Right.
If you have access to a library,
Right. Right.
something like that, or a school to get this information. But for me, it was that I am not a very organized person.
Right.
So having Steve there to help out, I'm a big fan of surrounding yourself with people who supplement what you don't have.
Panoramic lifestyle. Go ahead.
Right.
Cheap plug. Go ahead.
Right. So that helped me a lot
Right.
in the beginning. But we were amazing. We were amazingly spoiled, what I was going to say. But we were very spoiled in that we had a lot of success early on.
Right.
And the business was validating itself. People were asking us, how do I do this?
Right.
How do I create this on my campus? So we knew the interest was there.
Right.
The real trick was, how do we get paid for this?
Right. Right.
So that's the journey
Right.
for years, how to discover what's the best model
Right.
to spread this that's sustainable, meaning income coming in,
Right.
service and opportunity going out.
Going out. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got anything you want to interject with?
No, man, it's a great story. I'm captivated right now.
You got him stuck in his seat.
I'm like, whoa, from the trailer to the car to the to now the business venture, man. You got it, and then it's a great cause at the same time. So I'm glad we get to showcase that, man, because a lot of people need to hear that, man. I hope that that lets people know that you don't have to be wasted to have a good time.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you brought that up too, is that like the message behind it all, the reason why we do what we do is basically we want every freshman who comes onto campus to know you don't need to do anything you don't want to do in order to fit in or be accepted in college.
Right.
You can uphold whatever values, whatever decisions you've made. Make sure they're your decisions, not somebody else.
Right.
Then have fun doing it, If you're going to be sober, be sober,
Right.
be awesome, have a bunch of fun. If you're going to drink, that's good. Be confident in your decision.
Right.
We hope that you are safe.
Right.
Because unfortunately, some of us have just seen the other side of it,
Right.
and we would never wish that upon anyone else.
Right.
So we
Right.
want to provide choices.
Right, right. So absolutely. So aside of the actual partying, talk a little bit about the speaking engagements you do as you travel around the different schools and give presentations about that. It's all pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, so the speaking engagements are basically a way that we can get onto a campus and share our platform with the students. And we learned that on our tour, our national tour, when we stayed in that trailer, is basically, that was one more step in developing the business. So people thought, hey, you're on this national tour, you must have everything put together. But the reality of it was we were still figuring out what is the best way to get paid for it. And what we found out is if we were to move into the speaking space, number one, we can inspire audience and deliver an alcohol and drug presentation. That's really cool.
Right.
It's not, don't drink, don't do drugs, here's how you need to live your life. It was, hey, here's another option. If you want to take it, take it. We'll teach you how to start this movement on your campus.
Right.
So it's very innovative as far as the speaking industry goes.
Right.
And it leaves students with a real call to action. Because how many times have you been inspired by somebody, but then they didn't give you something to do after the presentation?
Right.
So we want to make sure that we are giving them that opportunity to start something, you know, their legacy and what they're going to do to impact their campus. And yeah, that's also how we get paid. Because whenever you're starting a business, it's good to figure out what are people already paying for, they're already used to paying for. How can you fit into that space and be one of the people that provides that service to them? Because then you don't have to tell them why they need you, why you're the best, and help them understand everything. It's like, hey, you're already bringing a speaker this year. We're a great option. Here's the bonus of working with us.
That's awesome. So do you guys get to do parties while you're in that city, like after a speaking engagement, or is it a scheduled thing? Or
sometimes, more often than not, though, we're actually not having the party with them. Because, and here's the reason why. When we go into a new community, if we throw the party with the students, then their experience of throwing a sober house party will be, oh, Jake's there, he's going to help me, he's going to do all these things for me. So when we leave, they might not throw another party again. If they do, they haven't experienced everything they need to make it sustainable. So we found the best way is to go there, do the speaking engagement, stay for a training where we'll take those leaders who are really interested in it. We're going to teach them, you know, how do you get hundreds of students interested in a sober house party? How do you build that giant, massive texting list so you don't have to spend money on promotions for the rest of the year? And then how do you get those big name sponsors like Red Bull and Papa John's to hop onto your parties and give you free stuff? And build a sustainable, you know, option for students on your campus. And then we also leave them with the Party.0 playbooks. They don't have to memorize everything that I told them. And we have follow-up calls. So we're there as a support for an entire year. So think of that as a speaker who's going to come to your campus, and most of them just leave. We're offering all of that value at the same price point. So it's like a no-brainer.
That is. That's awesome. And speaking of that, so you're going to be on the road this upcoming fall. You want to shout out some of the cities where you're going?
Yeah. So we're going into New York. We're going to South Carolina. We're going to Florida, and that's just Ohio on the books right now. But we're starting a marketing campaign soon to make sure that we fill out the rest of those schools. And of course, if you know anybody in college, go to partyzero.org and tell that person about them, or anybody who works in that space, because we're always looking for impact. And it's not unless you hear us on here or I come and speak to your school till that person even knows we exist.
Right. And listen, this has been super awesome and inspiring. He's been in
absolutely.
I'm stuck. 4 words.
I'm watching TV right now. I'm totally watching a movie right now.
No, but it's been great. And this is the type of programming we want to bring to you guys. This is a great guy. He's doing something this is fantastic. When he told me what he was doing, I was blown away. I just sat here and listened to it again. I'm blown away. It is awesome what you're doing. Jake. Definitely keep hammering away at that. I mean, I think it's the story from, again, as Kevin said, you came from a trailer to doing this and traveling the country, and you drove for 14 hours to go, and your grandma let you use the car for a month and a half. I mean, God, this is great. This is a great American dream story here. But no, it's all good stuff. I'm glad that we were able to connect with you. And we're going to keep bringing programming like this. Hopefully we can get some other great content from Jake for you guys. For future shows, and maybe even have him some type of channel here. We'll work that out on the backside. But we appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out with us. This was a great interview. We have more great interviews on deck. Mr. Kevin anytime will be leading some of those interviews. I have a few contributors I need to go chase down, this being one of them. But I'll get him before he gets out of town. But Jake, thanks, man, for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. You're welcome to come back anytime. I know you have some more business ventures down the pipeline. We'll definitely talk about those when you get them up and running.
Sounds good. Thank y'all.
All right. Thanks, guys. Panoramic Lifestyle. We'll see you guys next time.